sound off in the chat if you're with us this morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Slow News Day morning edition. My name is Steve-Poikonen. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm very happy to be here this morning. Would like to start off by apologizing for being totally out of it and angry and snappy and surly and bitchy yesterday. Thanks and only thanks to you guys. I am caffeinated and in a much better overall situation. The Slow News Day audience is the best and best looking audience on the face of the goddamn interwebs, and I love you guys. And I really do appreciate all the support that you've shown the show, not just recently, but the entire time we've been doing this thing. You guys are fucking incredible, and I love the shit out of you. And just thank you very, very much. And with that, quickly, let me just run through the business, and then we'll get into the show. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. We live in a fucking cartoon, you guys. We do. Hands down, no way around it. We live in a fucking cartoon. Let me run through the business real quick. The show is brought to you by Matrix Bars. Matrix Bars are 3.5 grams of delicious chocolate and psilocybin mushrooms. You can get your very own by scanning the QR code in the corner of the screen right there, or you can hit them up on Twitter or Instagram at Matrix Genetics, MatrixGenetix. We have all of our usual donate links up and working. You can see a few of them on the screen right there. The GoFundMe is running. The CashApp and the PayPal and stuff are all at SlowNewsDayShow. You can buy Sleepy Josh a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Bort, BORT. We do have t-shirts. They are awesome. I am frequently not smart and have been putting the wrong link in. I've been adding an extra keyword, which did not need to be there. But at any rate, you can get your t-shirts by going to truthclothing.io. And you can hit the partners button right there and click on Slow News Day, or you can go directly by typing in truthclothing.io/collections/Slow News Day. Grab yourself a t-shirt, grab yourself a sticker pack, grab a couple. It is almost the Christmas time, if that's a holiday you are hijacked to participate in, you know. At least throw something cool at somebody. Let's see. Okay. There's a handful of stories that we can do here on YouTube this morning. By the way, good morning to everybody watching and across all platforms. We are able to do each and every show for a limited amount of time on YouTube. After that, we bring it up to a point to where what we're going to talk about is going to get our channel taken away. The show gets dropped from YouTube, continues across the rest of the platforms, I believe, except maybe Odyssey. But we're uploading full episodes to Odyssey as we go. trying to get a hold of the folks from Odyssey to see if they can drop the sync and make it a little bit easier for us. None of that is anything you guys need to concern yourselves with. At any rate, Alec Baldwin, if you remember, it was just a couple of weeks ago on the set of the show Rust. Alec Baldwin. Well, there was a bit of an accident on the set, and Alec Baldwin kind of shot somebody. Kind of shot two people. Kind of means he killed one of them, and the other one was injured. So what happened was, according to everyone on set and the police reports, Alec Baldwin picked up a prop gun and pointed it at not one, but two people, shooting them both, killing one, wounding the other. Alec Baldwin gave his first interview since this happened yesterday or the day before to ABC News's George Snuffleupagus. And, it turns out that not only does time heal all wounds, time actually changes history and reality completely. Let's go ahead and roll the clip here, please, Sleepy Josh. I came from here. Hello? Hello. Here we go. Yeah, I know.
She was someone who was loved by everyone who worked with and liked by everyone who worked with and admired. I mean, even now, I find it hard to believe that. It just doesn't seem real to me.
You haven't said much in public since that tragic accident. Why speak out now? I think the big question, and the one you must have asked yourself 1,000 times, how could this have happened? You've described it as a 1 in a trillion shot, and the gun was in your hand. How do you come to terms with that? It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
What did you think happened? How did a real bullet get on that set?
I have no idea. Someone put a live bullet in a gun, a bullet that wasn't even supposed to be on the property.
How do you respond to actors like George Clooney who say that every time they were handed a gun, they checked it themselves? Your emotions are so clearly so right there on the surface. You felt shock. You felt anger. You felt sadness. Do you feel guilt? You said you're not a victim, but is this the worst thing that's ever happened to you?
Yes. Yeah. Because I think back and I think of what could I have done.
Alec Baldwin, unscripted.
Lots of things, Alec Baldwin. You could have done lots of things different. Like one, you could have checked the gun that you picked up and then pointed at not one but two people and shot. You could have done that. You could have checked the gun. You could have made sure that they were fake bullets. It's really easy to tell a prop bullet from a real bullet. I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not. Incredibly easy to tell the difference between a fake bullet and a real bullet. Alec Baldwin just sat there and told George Snuffleupagus that he fucking did not pick up the gun that dozens of people saw him pick up. He told George Snuffleupagus that he has no idea how bullets got into the gun that he didn't pick up. And he has no idea who shot the gun that dozens of people saw him point and shoot at not one but two people. Alec Baldwin. Okay. And look, I am much more willing to believe that Kyle Rittenhouse was crying genuine tears than I am Alec Baldwin was in front of George Nathanopoulos stuff, whatever the fuck his name is. Wow. This is wild. This is wild. And then of course, like, this is just ridiculous. Alec Baldwin, man, Alec Baldwin. I wanted to do this one because it's sort of down the road from me, and I'm a little bit. Oh, yeah. So the sad music is yes, that's true. That's true. Guns do pull their own triggers all the time. It's in fact one of the most common flaws, design flaws with guns, is that they so frequently pull their own triggers with bullets that just magically appear in the chamber. That's just science. Ask Dr. Fauci. The town of Fort Bragg, California, down in Mendocino on the coast. Beautiful area. It's got some of the coolest redwood trees on the planet. These coastal redwoods that are kind of naturally bonsai'd in terms of being a redwood because of the rate of speed at which wind comes up off of the coast. So they're all like huge, thick trunk, gnarly ass redwoods, but blown sideways and kept short. You're short for redwoods. Really cool looking. At any rate, a popular Northern California tourism spot's land grab ignites fight. Mendocino County's skunk train. Not that kind. Unfortunately, really missed an opportunity there. A popular tourism attraction that takes visitors on a scenic 3.5-mile ride around the Fort Bragg area believes it's a public utility. That classification matters because under California law, railroads that are considered to be public utilities have eminent domain rights, meaning they can seize private property for public use. After nearly 20 years of attempting to acquire the vacant Georgia Pacific mill site near the city of Fort Bragg, an ongoing war of words with city officials and an ill-turned oversight on behalf of the city's attorneys, the company that owns the skunk train used eminent domain to acquire 270 acres of land that includes the mill site as well as 20% of the city of Fort Bragg. The railroad company just used eminent domain and a loophole to acquire almost a quarter of a whole ass town. Y'all, it really, the Snidely Whiplash fucking robber baron sort of image just exploding in my head right now. Like when you think about the old-timey villain twisting his mustache, this is why. This is some railroad robber baron type fucking flexing here. The deed signed over and it's done, said Fort Bragg Vice Mayor Jessica Morcell. We're fucked on that. 270 acres have been grabbed, and we have no legal mechanism to block that at this point because it was ceded by Georgia Pacific. I'm going to try and get a hold of Vice Mayor. Actually, if I can, I'm going to go to Fort Bragg. That would be cool if that could happen. It would be interesting to get some on-the-ground stuff from there. Mendocino Railway The company that owns the skunk train received the land from Georgia Pacific, the owner of the mill site, 2 weeks ago. The city was previously in discussion to acquire the land from Georgia Pacific, but the process was slowed by a lengthy negotiation that Morzell believes was intentionally prolonged. We got played by Georgia Pacific. Under her theory, Georgia Pacific sought to cede the land to Mindo Railway to escape any potential liability over necessary remediation of the land, as the abandoned mill site is rife with arsenic and harmful carcinogens. Ha! Ha! As a federally recognized railway, the skunk train is only subject to federal regulation and can circumvent state and local regulatory processes, which Morzell believes was the point of the land grab. They commandeered the land that needs to have remediation done, but they've made the arrangement that they're not subject to the agency that oversees remediation, in reference to the California Department of Toxic Substances Control. Now anything they build on that land related to the railroad is exempt from oversight. This is what they want to do. They want to take the train to, okay, so what the train does already, if you've never been up to Fort Bragg, you've never been on this thing, the train loops like the town. They're claiming that anything within X amount of feet of the tracks is covered under the eminent domain in their land grab, which includes like all of the downtown businesses and all of the stores, and a ton of housing. Now, because there's arsenic and a bunch of other toxic chemicals and shit in the ground and in the groundwater and all of that, normally in order for this company to put up housing or open up a business, they would have to go through some sort of, hazardous material remediation process. But because of the way this has been orchestrated, because of the way that Georgia Pacific was able to sort of slip the land under, not only are these people free to build houses and schools and whatever the fuck else they want on arsenic and other fucking toxic filled fucking land, dirt, groundwater, soil and groundwater. They can charge whatever the fuck they want, and there is currently no legal mechanism to stop them. That's some crazy shit. That's some seriously like old school evil right there. They're taking it back to the classics on this one. That is fucking crazy. Sorry about the dead air. I just needed to take a drag of a cigarette there for a minute. It's funny. People, every year people freak out because San Francisco gets like, or the whole Bay Area really gets taken over by crows. So I'm staying in California here for a moment. Not just in terms of the news, but in terms, fucking I would love to leave California. That would be awesome. But because it's always fire season here, and because California intentionally mismanages its forests, they also mismanage their water. So this, if you live in California, this is what you're paying, like some of the most expensive rent in the world for. This right here, California water districts get 0% of requested supplies. Water agencies in drought-stricken California that serve 27 million residents and 750,000 acres of farmland won't get any of the water they requested from the state heading into 2022, other than what's necessary for critical health and safety. The earliest date the Department of Water Resources has issued a 0% water allocation, a milestone that reflects the dire conditions in California as drought continues to grip the nation's most populous state, and reservoirs sit at historically low levels. They let out and empty the reservoirs, you guys. Frequently, they drain the reservoirs out into the Pacific Ocean, including Lake Oroville. And they're saying it's only about 30% full. They intentionally drained that thing. Not only did they intentionally drain Lake Oroville, they did the exact same thing to Lake Mendocino. They drain and then refill Clear Lake because they want to keep the tourists coming back to it. They'll kill all of the fucking fish and game in Mendo Lake to drain it, empty it out into the Pacific. But Clear Lake, where the money is, that lake's got to be got to be looking good. Make sure those fucking people from down in LA County that come up to hang out and party have something cool to look at. Saudi Arabia, this is something that I just wanted to touch on briefly. But this Saudi fighter jet carried out airstrikes on Yemen's capital city of Sana'a yesterday. And this is just, by all appearances, totally unprovoked, random, out of the blue. Hey, by the way, we're just going to show up and drop bombs where you live. Weird. Let's see. I do want to do that story, but perhaps let's go to this. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. And then maybe we can, a little early to get out of. I saw this and it was funny to me at least, just because of what a fucking crook this lady is. You guys know that Kamala Harris is a dead-eyed, soulless servant to power and is only in the White House because the money thinks that she'll be best suited to unquestioningly usher in their wildest whim, fantasy, dictate, or demand. The staff that she had around her, because she is so historically difficult to work with, is people that were just sort of kind of like forced onto her team because they didn't get the jobs that they wanted because they were either too incompetent, too lazy, or too psychopathic for that particular job. As such, they've been jumping ship over the last several months. One of those people is former Bernie Sanders press secretary, Simone Sanders. If you guys remember, Simone Sanders was the Democratic National Committee's mole inside the Sanders campaign back in 2016. The WikiLeaks proved that she was communicating with the Clinton campaign and with other DNC insiders, giving them damaging information about what was going on the inside of Bernie's campaign. For that, she was rewarded with a contract at MSNBC and then a spot on Joe Biden's presidential campaign. This crazy individual wrote her memoirs at like 29, 30. She published her memoir last year, Do you know what kind of vainglorious narcissist it takes to think that you deserve to write your memoirs at 29? Your brain has been fully developed for 3 years. You're going to write your memoirs. Simone Sanders, at any rate, she's moving on to greener pastures. In her memoir, by the way, she spends. I actually had to follow up on this one because there was a throwaway line about it in the CNN article that I had up. There's a throwaway line about how she wanted Jen Psaki's job and didn't get it, and they pushed her off onto Kamala Harris instead of letting her be the press secretary. In her memoir, she says it's her dream job. That's a resume. That's not. It's less a memoir and more a curricula vitae, I think. I don't know. Call it a memoir? That's fucking ridiculous. It is. But anyway, I went and followed up. She spends a ridiculous amount of time on the fact that she wants to be, in her memoir, she talks about how she wants to be the press secretary when she grows up. In her memoir, she talks about the job that she wants to have next. In her, I'm going to drop it. I am. I just, the fucking gall of these people. I realize I said you people, sort of. I do want to do this, and I do want to do this while we're on YouTube, just to kind of get it out to everybody. There's a story going around that a number of conspiracy community and truth community channels have just ran with uncritically and have not just have not looked into. And that is that there's a murder case open against Bill Gates. Now, as delightful as that would be, and as necessary as that is, that is not the case. They're naming Bill Gates and Adar Poonawalla in this court case that you can't find. That's the first clue. The second is that COVID Shield is not the name of the injection for AstraZeneca's COVID-19 injection. The third is that Bill Gates is not on the board or CEO of AstraZeneca. When you go to check this out, the only website that it tracks back to is the Indian Bar Association. When you look up that particular website on ICANN and Whois, it was registered. It's a non-renewable throwaway registered through GoDaddy. This is not accurate. This is not happening. There's no existing court case. There's no link to that court case. There's nothing that tracks to anything real, and it takes about 15 seconds of tracking it down to discover this. And I wish that a little bit of due diligence was done in this. And I'm glad that nobody who's really been crushing it, putting out accurate information this entire time, has ran with it. But this is something that needs to be talked about because people do get carried away. And don't get me wrong, Bill Gates deserves to be brought up on multiple different charges for multiple different things, and has been in the past. Bill Gates is no stranger to a courtroom. He's a fucking old school pirate. In fact, Johnny Vedmore has put together. I'll dig that up at some point in the show today, or maybe we'll do a watch along at some point. Johnny Vedmore on his YouTube channel has about a 20-minute presentation on the Gates family history. Really well done, fascinating. Do go check that out. I'm gonna decide whether or not I'll do a watch along. I'll try and dig it up when I've got a couple of seconds, when we roll a clip or something like that. And let's see. I will probably end up doing that story when we make the jump to Rockfin. That's Alec Baldwin stuff. The robot Nazi. Yeah. So all the clips are for Barbara, why don't you just, that's so weird. Plays for 15 minutes. I've never heard that before. Has this happened to anybody else? If this is something you guys are experiencing, I need to email Rockfin about that. I have never heard that before. Please let me know if this is something that's going on with everybody else. The free link to the stream on Rockfin would work. So here's what you do, Barbara. You just subscribe to or you just make a free account. Just sign up to Rockfin with a throwaway email and follow the channel. And then that way it's never a problem. Whatever email address.
And if Rockfin's having problems, we're always live on Odyssey too. The replays are kind of funky. They haven't been adding properly, but while we're live, you can view it on Odyssey as well at the same time.
Yeah, you could also and Twitch and DLive. Yeah, I did multiple ways to watch the show. But that's weird. That's weird. And if it is happening, like if it's happening to other people too, I definitely need to email Rockfin about it. You can contact that's weird. Let's see. Yeah, that's super weird. I get, I don't know if I get fucked with by Rockfin. The phone app is kind of fucky. I frequently have to re-log in on the phone app. Fucking Simone Sanders, dude. It's just she's such a crook. They believe she's currently under investigation. Right now in the moment under investigation. This is actually pretty funny. And I think it's worth kicking around Bernie Sanders for a totally different reason. Actually, it's not even kicking around Bernie. It just kind of highlights how fucking crazy this whole place is. Let me make this a little bit. So Bernie Sanders, or I guess I've theorized this for a very long time, that the person who runs Bernie's Twitter account hates Bernie. Just really does not like this man, because almost every time there's a tweet from Bernie Sanders now, he's getting ratioed. And it doesn't matter what he says. He says it's a woman who has the right to control her own body, not the government. If men were the one giving birth, I highly doubt this would be a problem. Not a controversial position, but the woke mob went to fucking town on him. This is a real tweet. This is a real tweet. Women aren't the only people who give birth. It's vital to be inclusive in your language when discussing reproductive rights, says random Twitter account yelling at Bernie Sanders, who is trying to defend Roe v. Wade. This is a real thing.
I got 7 of them.
Reminder that it's not difficult to use trans-inclusive language, and at this point, the average leftist should know better than to say things like protecting Roe versus Wade is important, and that's yeah. Look, the Democrats are going to have to run a literal furry that is like multiracial. You can't say transracial. That's hate speech. Multiracial. I'm not kidding. Or they're just gonna have to run an AI program or a fucking hologram. They're done. They're worthless. I really can't believe that shit. That shit is wild. 7 minutes in. Yeah, let's go ahead and drop off of the YouTube. Barbara, what I've always had to do when I've listened to stuff on Rockfin on my phone is just put it on and forget that I have a phone. Like, forget that I can do other things on my phone, because if I try to, minimize the app or whatever, then it stops and it resets and it got to go back and all that shit. But it's free to make the account. It's free to watch. Dropping that link into the chat. We are also live on Odyssey, on DLive, on Twitch. Anywhere else? I don't think anywhere else. Oh, Twitter. We're live on Twitter. That's right. I always forget that. I always forget that this goes out on whatever used to be Periscope too. But it does, and we're live on the tweeters. So click the link in the chat if you want to watch the stream. Free to make an account to Rockfin. If you want to watch the paywalled content, if you love what we do, if you would like to endorse the channel, it's $9.99 a month. You get all of the paywalled content on the network. Great way to support your favorite content creator. Thank you all for hanging out over here on the YouTube. If you can, please do throw a couple of bucks at the GoFundMe or the Cash App or the Buy Me a Coffee. If you can't, please do share those links. It really does help. Thank you all again for the support yesterday and the day before and the days ahead. You guys fucking rock. We love you. And with that, we will see you in hell, YouTube.